Welcome back to my Kickstarter for Authors crash course. I am Kayla Ann, author of Well of Dreams, and I am here to help you run a successful Kickstarter. Today we are talking about stretch goals. Now at this point in my videos, you already know that your funding goal should be considered a floor and not a ceiling, meaning you want to set your funding goal as low as you possibly can while still being able to afford to produce the product, which is your book and whatever else it is that you are putting into your campaign. Now, ideally, that means that most of our new campaigns are probably going to start around that $500 mark, meaning that you are already funding yourself for cover art, editing, etc., right? The basics. But if we're being honest, we want to fund at more than $500, and we are probably wanting to add in some specialty things to our books, but we can't afford to pay for them at the $500. This is where your stretch goals come into play. Generally speaking, stretch goals are basically these improvements that can be added to your book, or these are backer goodies that can be added to everyone's tiers once you reach some type of monetary amount, and you get to set that monetary amount. Now, there is some conversation about the difference between stretch goals and stretch rewards, and typically stretch goals seem to be these things that actually improve the physical book, like illustrations or specialty cover art that's different than the normal cover art, or end papers or foiling, things like that. Whereas backer rewards, these tend to be like the digital goodies that everybody gets, or maybe an extra sticker that everybody gets. But to learn more about the nuanced differences between those two things, I encourage you to go to the Kickstarter for Authors page on Facebook, type in stretch goals, and you can learn all about them. But for today's video, I'm going to try to keep it as straightforward as possible. Now, you do not technically have to do stretch goals. They are not a requirement. But in my opinion, I really do think that they help. And they help in three particular ways. Number one, stretch goals give you something to talk about with your audience. And I don't just mean your current backers, but also any potential backers. It's something that you can use to keep the campaign exciting and something new that you can talk about and offer to them. Number two, your stretch goals could entice other backers who haven't backed yet to back your campaign, because maybe you've unlocked something, some new gorgeous illustration, and you're able to market that, and someone sees it and they're like, oh my goodness, yeah, I want this. So your stretch goals give you more opportunities not only to talk to your current backers, but also to market to new potential backers. And reason number three, it hopefully keeps your current backers excited about the product so that they are more likely to keep their pledge, because your backers can technically withdraw their pledge at any point up until the last day of the Kickstarter when it ends. So backers, when they make a pledge, they don't pay that money until the Kickstarter is over. Once it is over, then Kickstarter collects all of the money, meaning that when your backers pledge something, you're not guaranteed that money. They could technically withdraw it at any point. So your stretch goals, your stretch rewards, whatever you want to call them, this is something that can also encourage your backers to keep their pledges. So how do you decide what to add as stretch goals? Well, think about it this way. What would you love to see in your book? Do you love when there's the foiled jackets? Do you love end papers? Do you love illustrations? Do you love bonus chapters? What is it that you would want to add? Then next, consider, okay, how much is it going to cost you to add that to all of these books? And then you need to figure out, where do you need to set your stretch goal monetarily so that you're not undercutting yourself and you're actually losing too much money in the process. Thankfully, I have created a formula on my Google Sheet which helps me calculate this so that I am minimizing that risk. If you're interested, it's in my ebook, and you can just comment ebook below to let me know, and I'll tell you all about how to get that. Not sure what stretch goals to add? Go on Kickstarter, go look at the campaigns, go see what stretch goals they're doing, and figure out what would you want to add to your campaign. Now, once I've decided all of my stretch goals, I'm also going to decide all of the monetary goals. Is it going to be 3,000, 5,000, right? How am I going to list out all of these monetary amounts? But here's the big thing. I am not going to share those monetary amounts with my backers, because I need the freedom to be able to move those monetary amounts if they're not working in my campaign. Maybe I'm going to set my third stretch goal at $5,000, but maybe on the first day I got really lucky and I zoomed past $5,000. Well, I now have the freedom to push that out to $7,000 or $8,000 or whatever it is, or vice versa. Maybe I set my first stretch goal at $10,000 and I barely hit 500 on the first day. Well, I now have the freedom to move that monetary amount because I didn't share it with anybody except for myself. A general rule of thumb is you don't share the monetary amount of your stretch goals until it is the next stretch goal. So I would share my first stretch goals amount the day that I launched my campaign, but I would not share my secondary stretch goal monetary amount until after I hit the first stretch goal and gave it some time, because remember, backers can withdraw their pledges. So I want to make sure that I am well over that stretch goal amount before I set the next one, in case someone cancels and I sink back below that first stretch goal. Hopefully all of this is making a little bit of sense, but it's gonna make even more sense when I start to show you what this looks like in my live campaign. I'm gonna post videos of how I'm doing my stretch goals and a little bit more of the behind the scenes as well. So if you don't wanna miss it out, make sure that you go and you click the notify me on launch, because that Kickstarter is happening real soon. Maybe it's even live by the time that you're watching this video, or if it's past, you can go and watch my next videos that are certainly coming up. If today's video was helpful to you, would you please like, share, save, and comment? And don't forget, subscribe to all my social medias so you don't miss out on these videos.